Okay, let's get into something really quite unexpected today.
Yep.
We're talking about Air Force One, but maybe not the one you're thinking of. There's this potential, well, shakeup involving a luxury Boeing 747-8 from Qatar.
A $400 million one, apparently.
Yeah.
A flying palace, as some are calling it.
Exactly. And the idea is it might become a temporary Air Force One. This all stems from an ABC News report that was May 11th, 2025.
It's a fascinating situation because it's so unusual, isn't it? This isn't the standard way things are done.
Not at all. You hear that, a luxury jet from another country potentially being used as Air Force One, and it definitely makes you stop and ask, how, why.
Right.
So
Right.
that's our mission for this deep dive, figure out the facts, the context around this proposed transfer, and, well, what it might all mean. We've got the news reports, the official statements. We'll try to piece it together.
And I think maybe just to set the stage, it's important to remember why this is even on the table. The current Air Force One planes, they're old.
Really old. 40 years.
About that, yeah. They're modified Boeing 747-200Bs, been in service since the 90s. And the upkeep, the maintenance costs are significant. So a replacement is definitely needed.
Okay, so that's the background need. Then came this ABC News report, May 11th. It suggested President Trump was looking to accept this Qatari 747-8.
This $400 million jet,
Yeah.
as the new Air Force One.
Which, if it happened like that, as a straightforward gift, you could argue would be the most valuable gift the U.S. government had ever received.
An absolutely staggering figure. But almost right away, Qatar offered a slightly different take.
They did, same day, May 11th. Their media attaché here in Washington, Ali Al-Ansari, put out a statement. He was careful with the wording, said it was a temporary transfer being discussed between the Qatari and U.S. Defense Departments for use as Air Force One.
Right, the key word being temporary. And crucially, he said no final decision's been made.
Which directly counters the initial idea of it just being a finalized gift.
Exactly. That distinction, permanent gift versus temporary transfer, is really critical here. It shows maybe different perspectives or different diplomatic angles on this.
And President Trump also weighed in on social media, same day again, May 11th.
What was his angle?
He defended it, calling it a temporary gift specifically to the Department of Defense.
Yeah.
To replace the aging planes.
So acknowledging the temporary aspect, but still framing it as a gift.
Yeah.
To the DoD.
Yeah, and he described the whole thing as very public and transparent. He also took a swipe at Democrats over the cost of ordering new planes.
Which, that brings us to the existing contract, doesn't it? The frustration there seems pretty palpable.
Seems like it. Remind us about that deal.
Sure. So back in 2018, the Air Force awarded Boeing a $3.9 billion contract. That was for two brand new 747-8s. Heavily modified, of course, to be the next generation of Air Force One.
And they were supposed to be ready by now, weren't they? Or soon?
Originally, delivery was slated for 2024. But, well, things happened. There was a subcontractor bankruptcy, COVID-related production slowdowns, a whole host of issues.
Right. I remember hearing about those delays.
So now the projected delivery dates are pushed way back. We're looking at, I think, 2027 for the first plane and 2028 for the second.
Okay, so years behind schedule. That definitely adds context to why President Trump might be exploring other, let's say, faster options.
Absolutely. Frustration with delays is a key driver here, it seems.
And this Qatari jet, the one being discussed, is not new either, is it?
No, reports say it's about 13 years old, and it's apparently sitting in San Antonio, Texas right now.
Okay, so even if this temporary transfer goes ahead, it's not like they can just slap on the presidential seal and fly it tomorrow.
Oh, definitely not. That's a huge point. Any plane used for Air Force One needs extensive, and I mean extensive, retrofitting. You're talking top-level secure communications, missile defense systems, EMP hardening, specialized medical facilities. Basically turning a civilian airliner into a mobile, highly secure command post.
And that takes time.
Years. Experts estimate it would take years to do all the necessary modifications and certifications, which really makes you question the practicality of a temporary solution that requires such a massive long-term upgrade.
That's a very good point. A temporary plane needing years of work.
It complicates the narrative significantly.
Okay, so beyond the practicalities, this whole idea immediately rings some legal and ethical alarm bells for people, specifically the Emoluments Clause.
Yes, that's right. The Foreign Emoluments Clause of the Constitution.
Can you break that down for us? What does it basically prevent?
Sure. In simple terms, it's designed to prevent foreign influence on U.S. officials. It forbids anyone holding federal office from accepting gifts, payments, titles, any kind whatever the Constitution says from foreign governments or monarchs without getting explicit approval from Congress.
The idea being you don't want U.S. policy potentially swayed by foreign favors.
Exactly. It's about loyalty and preventing even the appearance of corruption or divided allegiance.
So how does that connect to this $400 million Qatari jet potentially being used?
Well, the critics argue that accepting an asset of such immense value, even temporarily, could be seen as violating that clause. It's a thing of value from a foreign state.
Right.
And some concerns go further, questioning if there might be arrangements for, say, President Trump to have some kind of access or benefit related to the plane after his presidency, maybe through his Presidential Library Foundation or something similar. That adds another layer of complexity.
Okay, that's the concern. What's the counter-argument? How is the administration defending this?
The White House and the Department of Justice, based on reports, are arguing that it's lawful because the jet wouldn't be given directly to President Trump himself. The recipient would technically be the U.S. Air Force, part of the Department of Defense. Their legal interpretation seems to be that this distinction removes the element of personal enrichment or potential bribery. It hinges on it being an asset for the U.S. government, not a personal gift to the office holder.
So the argument is it goes to the Air Force, not the president personally. Therefore, it sidesteps the Emoluments Clause concern, assuming, of course, there's no quid pro quo involved.
Precisely. The absence of any implied or explicit exchange to the gift is crucial to that legal defense. But, even with that legal framing.
The ethics still feel fuzzy to some.
Well, yeah. The sheer scale of the potential transfer, the timing, it still raises questions about potential foreign influence, even if it meets a specific legal interpretation, especially with President Trump's upcoming visit to Qatar.
Let's talk about that timing and context. This interest in the Qatari jet isn't brand new, is it?
No, apparently not. Reports suggest President Trump actually inspected this specific Boeing 747-8 back in February 2025.
Where was that?
Down at Palm Beach International Airport. Even back then, it was reportedly linked to his dissatisfaction with the Boeing delays for the official new planes.
He's had his eye on this potential alternative for a little while.
It seems that way.
Yeah.
Which, adds context. It wasn't just an idea out of the blue this May.
And now this proposal is surfacing just as he's about to travel to the region.
Exactly. His Middle East tour is scheduled for May 13th to 16th, 2025. And the stops include Qatar, along with Saudi Arabia and the UAE.
That timing certainly hasn't gone unnoticed. It fuels speculation about, diplomatic maneuvering or motivations behind the offer, potential or otherwise.
It inevitably does, yes. Whenever you have a high-value item and sensitive diplomacy intersecting like this, people will ask questions about connections.
And didn't he also explore other avenues? I seem to remember something about Elon Musk.
That's right. There were reports earlier about President Trump engaging with Elon Musk, exploring if SpaceX or related technologies could somehow, speed up getting a new presidential aircraft capability online.
So it shows a pattern of looking for ways around the current Boeing delays, trying different angles.
It certainly paints a picture of active searching for solutions, yeah. Putting all these pieces together, the prior inspection, the Musk talks, the timing of the Qatar trip, it fills out the background considerably.
Okay, so after digging into all this, what are the main things you think we should really take away? Let's try to synthesize.
Well, I think point number one has to be the conflicting narratives, right?
Yeah.
You've got President Trump talking about accepting a temporary gift, and then you have Qatar's official statement emphasizing it's only a potential temporary transfer, still under discussion between defense departments.
That difference in framing seems key. And the why behind this whole discussion seems rooted in real issues.
Definitely. The current Air Force One fleet is old, maintenance is expensive, and the contracted replacements from Boeing are seriously delayed. That frustration is the clear catalyst.
Then there's the big legal question mark.
Yes, the Emoluments Clause. Is this proposed arrangement constitutional? The administration believes its interpretation that the Air Force receiving it makes it okay holds up. Critics strongly disagree.
And ultimately, nothing is settled yet.
Absolutely not. Qatar explicitly said no final decision has been made. Legal reviews are almost certainly ongoing on the U.S. side, too. It's very much an unresolved situation.
It really is a fascinating convergence, isn't it? Presidential travel, cutting edge, or maybe slightly used, aviation, international relations, constitutional law. It's all wrapped up in this one story.
It really is. It touches on so many different aspects of how government functions, both domestically and internationally.
It gives you, the listener, a lot to consider. You've got the practical needs of the presidency, safe, reliable, advanced transport. You've got a foreign nation potentially offering a solution. And then you have these fundamental legal principles designed to safeguard against foreign influence. How do you balance all that?
And maybe a final thought to leave you with. Given these complexities, the delays, the search for alternatives, what might this whole episode suggest about the future? Could we see more unconventional approaches to acquiring or using these major symbols of national power and diplomacy, especially when international offers get thrown into the mix? What precedents might be set, intended or unintended?